Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Enlightened Awakening. Today, I have Elies Hadi to the show. She's coming to us all the way from Indonesia. Elies is a guiding starseed visionary, sacred feminine leader. She's also the host of a podcast called Starseed Goddess Podcast. Welcome, Elies. How are
Thank
you?
you for having me. I'm great. So excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on the show. Yeah. So tell us, let's start with your podcast. Tell us about your podcast.
Hmm. So my podcast originally started with what I call angel's transmission actually. That was back then when I was really doing a lot of the angel healing work, and it was pretty cool how the podcast started because I just received the word angel's transmission, and then I didn't know it was a podcast. So I just like, okay, spirit guide. That's a cool name, but you need to know what it is. But like I have no idea what it was. And I just kind of, I hear you. I will let it flow. And then one fine day, funny enough, when I was watching Abraham Hicks, and she was talking about channeling and transmission and mediumship, stuff like that. And halfway through watching her, I received this entire divine download, which is literally a script. And then immediately I knew that's like the first episode of my podcast, and that Angel's Transmission is the podcast. And then I remember just going upstairs to my room and just pick up my mic, which at the time it was just like a clip on mic. They just pick it up and recorded it before I forget. And there you go. That's how the first episode was born. At the time, I didn't even have my podcast cover done. Like, I didn't even know it was a podcast until I recorded that first episode, and that's how it began. And it was pretty amazing because after that, like things just unfold. I got more and more divine download, and then I can't remember exactly when that was. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe. And then last year, though, around, was it last year? I think it was last year. I think I lost track of time. Anyway, time is like an illusion anyway. So anyway, I think sometime last year, I then got the name Starseed Goddess. And I was told that it was to rebrand my podcast into Starseed Goddess, which is what it is now, with a focus on it being more on focusing to support Starseed, visionary, and sacred feminine leader in this awakening journey. So that's kind of how Starseed Goddess is born and is supporting people in their awakening journey right now.
Okay. Is it just like, is it on YouTube or is it on YouTube and audio channels?
It's both. So it's on YouTube and most audio channel for podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and all the other stuff.
Okay. So do you have your podcast on like the same time every week, or is it just like randomly or
It's random. So as
God?
and when I receive download, and also because I believe in working with like the ebb and flow. Like there are times when I'm super creative and then I'll be like recording so many episodes at one go. There are times that it feels for me more like going inwards and like really putting the time more on myself, which is like right now where I'm more in the phase of I'm giving birth to something and I kind of just want to be in that space.
God.
So I'm haven't been posting much these days, but then when it comes, it's gonna come.
Yes. Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. So, is it usually you, or do you usually have a guest on that you're interviewing?
Mostly me. Recently, I have few guests that come along because I feel called to just try something different. But then, for the most part, it was designed to be like just a channel messages from me to my audience in that way.
Gotcha. I love it. I love it. So,
Mhm.
so you had a calling on the Priestess Path and Rose Alchemy. Tell us about that. Tell us about the Priestess Path and Rose Alchemy.
Oh, I love this topic so much. I just had like another download on it. So let's start with like the calling of a priestess. And the way I define priestess is someone who is here to be of service to the divine. And that doesn't mean everyone has to be a teacher or a coach or a healer or even be in having a business, so to speak. Like I see my mom as a priestess, she is stay-at-home mom, but she has so much love, so much compassion, so much grace, like when I was near her, she never failed to soften me. And I could feel it more, especially when I had the day, like those days when you were like so tied up and so serious and just like, and then every time I was around her, like she doesn't even have to say anything much, like not even like some big spiritual wisdom, it was just like a simple question, but it's that divine feminine energy that really just softened me. And to me, that is also the priestess path, right? Like you are being of service to the divine in your own way by being of service to yourself, to your family, to your loved ones in that sense. Because someone actually asked me last week when I was doing a guest talk for one of the spiritual university. And someone was saying like, does everyone has to be of service to other people? Can I be of service to me? And then my answer is that we are all one. So when you're servicing others, you're serving yourself. When you're servicing the divine, you are servicing yourself. And it is not saying that being of service means you sacrifice yourself. That's not what it is. It just means that it is a calling. Like literally, that's why it's called a calling of a priestess. You are called to be of service to the divine, not to the ego. So when I say divine, the reason I don't say being service to self is because is to distinct that difference between the ego and the spirit. So we are letting ourselves be led by the spirit and not the ego, and hence being of service from that place. So that's kind of like in a nutshell what calling of a priestess is. And I actually have a masterclass on that. So you'll be able to find that out on the website too. So in that masterclass, I'm going to dive way, way deeper on that because there's only that much we can talk about here.
Right.
And feel free to ask me any questions as we go along. And the other question, you were. If you go to my website, you'll be able to see right on the front page, you'll be able to see a category, Starseed, Light Language, and Priestess. When you click on the section of Priestess, you're going to have all the offerings about priestesses, whether it is free or paid, it is all there. It's all in the homepage. So, you can play around and see which one you feel called to.
Okay, so there's some free ones and then also some paid versions, right?
Yeah, like all the offerings. So, yeah.
Okay. And the link is also in the description, guys, if you want to check that out. Tell us about the Rose Alchemy.
Yeah, there's also another divine download that I received. And I've been working with the rose energy for a long time, but I never thought about it to offer to people weirdly, I guess, it's always, you are integrating and embodying until, it is time, then you share it with others. So rose alchemy basically means you work with the energy, the frequency, the medicine of the rose. Rose hold its own rose coach, its color of rose, different color, hold different codes. And each of us has, like different roles that is meant to be guiding us at a different time of our journey. Some people work with one color rose for a long time. Some people work with different ones. So it depends on which one comes up for you. So that's the power of the rose, and I call it alchemy because the frequency of the rose is so high and it is an embodiment of the divine feminine. It has the power to alchemize, and transform our wounds into our gift and really healing us on such a deep level and bring out that Shakti energy in us. So we may be the embodiment of the priestess. That's why rose alchemy actually is part of the priestess path. It goes hand in hand. And you get to work with like the different frequency of the rose, different color of it, as well as to work with a guide alongside of the rose. So for example, in my one-on-one rose alchemy session, like what comes through is sometimes a red rose might come up for this person, and then the accompanying guide might be Mary Magdalene. Just an example. It doesn't always have to be that pairing. And personally, for me, the one that come up the first in my journey and still stay with me the most is the blue rose. And that for me, when I work with the blue rose, the Lemurian star mother's energy come in. So to me, that is my pairing. That said, there is no fixed pairing. You can mix and match and change the pairing, so to speak. And you don't even have to pair it. If you just want to work with rose itself, you can. It's just how I designed the rose alchemy so that you kind of have the extra support and something more tangible to work with, that you can, go into the session, connect with the rose, connect with the guide, and receive your messages and see how you can let them support you in your path, including like the messages they give. Usually when we work with the rose alchemy, what I realize and notice in a lot of the people that I work with is that you kind of receive a specific quality of the soul essence. Like it helps you to understand the deep truth and power of who you are in a way that it reveals to you your very own soul essence. Whether, for me, I know my soul essence comprises of playfulness, of freedom, of sweetness, oneness, love, and a lot of other things. But it kind of help you embody that one by one or all at the same time, if it makes sense. So it is such a powerful soul remembrance journey, and I really love it. And I mean, it's also so beautiful, right? Visually, and then it smells good, and then energetically, it is really such a soft and powerful energy to work with.
So what kind of things come out in a session or a reading? Are you just like getting messages from their spirit guides, or messages for them that they need at that point in their life, or is it sort of like an astrology kind of type thing, or like what all happens in a session?
Mm-hmm. It is not astrology, so it is more like a guided journey. So you will receive the channel messages either from me, or maybe you will receive it yourself. You hear something from your guide. The essence really is to connect with the frequency. That's the whole point. Like it is about embodying the frequency and tapping into what it means for you. Like, what does red rose means for you? Not what other people say, not what you read online, but what does red rose represents for you? And that often kind of like give you that activation. So for me, when I first worked with the black rose, I wasn't very comfortable, honestly, because it was black rose. I wasn't sure. And then, but when I allow myself to journey deeper with the black rose, it revealed to me this entire blackness and darkness that represents mystery. And then suddenly that energy shifted into this very alluring kind of mystery, not like the scary kind. Like it started like, oh my God, it was dark, it was scary, it was black, into like, oh my God, this unknown is actually very sexy. And then to me, that is like literally the message to teach me that there is beauty in the unknown. The mystery of the unknown is beautiful. To lean more into the unknown, it is safe to be in the unknown. That even if I cannot see everything, even though it might be a little bit dark, but if you keep going, you're gonna see the light, and then have fun. There are so many magic in the unknown, and by the end of the journey, from me, like that black rose end up like sparkling with rainbow light across it. So it's like that alchemy, right, of transmuting everything dark into light, but most importantly in this case is to embrace our shadow, embrace our darkness, embrace the unknown. Like that is the message for
Yeah.
me.
Because
And
it's
then it
part.
might look different for others people. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you know of any other flower that comes in as many colors as the rose?
Probably, yeah. I've not worked with them in that many color with other flowers, but for the rose, that's what I'm familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah, the rose is just, it's an amazing, beautiful flower. And my birthday's in June, so rose is the flower of June. So, yeah, I've
Hmm.
always loved roses, always. So, you also use the healing power of light language. Tell us about that. Tell us about the light language.
Hmm. So the light language also came to me very spontaneously. So I was in a writing workshop with my spiritual mentor, and then halfway through the workshop, she was like, "Your light language is gonna come out." And I was like, "What?" And then, well, I trusted and surrendered and let her guided me. And true enough, I spoke my light language for the first time in that session, and ever since then, I've been speaking it until now, until to a point where I'm sharing it with the world and teaching other people to speak it as well. And the light language in its simplicity, the way I explain it is an expression of the divine. It is energy transmission that is being expressed through audio, through visual, through movement. So there are many ways you can express it because it's an expression of the divine, and it is just an energy transmission to keep it really simple because everything is energy anyway. But the beauty about light language is that you don't have to understand what is being said. And yet, it often feels so familiar on a soul level. Like people
Mm,
often felt a resonance, although the mind cannot make understand what is being said. And that actually, the way I see it is that exactly why it is powerful, because it helped us to bypass that human mind and really bypassing that filter, right? Because we have so much filter, so much preconceived ideas when we involve the mind. But by bypassing that, we are receiving like this pure raw organic energy that is being channeled from source, and we can receive it like an unfiltered version, and then allow the divine to do the work, and we just receive whatever we need to receive, whether it is a healing, a message, upgrade and energetically, and whatever that comes in that session itself.
okay. Okay. So tell us about the Starseed Awakening, the message from the Pleiadian star mothers.
Hmm. So it was during one of the Palladian portal that I connected so deeply with the Palladian star mothers, where it started out with like a flickering of blue light during my meditation. And at the time, I didn't know who it was. I was just like, okay, this is new. I haven't really felt this energy before, but I just continue to allow it to come through. And I think within maybe a week or something like that, what started out with like a flickering of blue light turns into like an entire council of Palladian star mothers like right in front of me during the meditation. And that's when I was like, oh my God, that is one of my primary guides that I'm meant to be working with. So just in case those of you who are like, but what is a starseed? So starseed is basically human who, I mean, like soul who reincarnated in human form now, but they originally, not necessarily originally, but they have had other lifetime as a star in star system and other planet other than the Earth. So
In
if
this
you're
dimension, or are they from another dimension? They're
mostly
in,
other dimension, yeah, because like the star system are usually of a different dimension. I mean, Earth is very dense, so most of them that come from other dimension and reincarnate here comes from a slightly higher vibration or way more higher vibration depending on where they come from, and they reincarnate here And it's a great question that you ask, because that's the exact struggle that a lot of starseed has, because they come from such a place where, like everything is like high vibrational, everything is love, everything is one. And then they come into this dense subversion, which is the Mother Earth, where you have actually a physical bodysuit. Like some of them might not even like have a physical bodysuit in their past remembrance, right? And then it just feel very dense, it feels heavy, it feels very hard to integrate, which is why a lot of starseed actually have challenge adapting, if that is the right word, like just settling. I think that's the word, is settling into the earth, because they feel isolated, they feel that they are alone, that they feel they are abandoned, and like nothing quite fits in until they realize that they are starseed and they awaken to that. Then like things become different, because suddenly you understand what's going on in your life, you understand who you are and why you are here and what's happening, and that opens up and activate the entire awakening process for the starseed, so they can then finally be fulfilling their divine mission, now that they know who they are and why they are here.
So you said that the Pleiadian star seeds, star mothers came to you. What do they look like?
I don't actually see much visually, then more like energetically in blue colors for me. So it's
Okay.
just more like seeing they are not in dense version, they are like in light being, so I don't really see a facial feature, if that's your question. But they are very light blue light, but for me it's more of the energy that I'm tuning into and the words that I'm receiving, because that's like how I work with my gift, because everyone works slightly differently. I tend to receive more like audio and feeling, and but the feeling of the frequency is really literally that, like the star mother, I felt like this motherly energy that comes in, like this cosmic mother. Like I knew there and then that it is this all encompassing love and light.
What did they say? What was the message they gave you the first time?
I've worked with them and channeled them many times in a session, and no matter how the message is being said in a different way, at the end it comes down to the very, very, very basic, almost common sense, actually, to the very fundamental of remembering that love is all there is, that we are here to share love and to represent love and to be love, which again, it ties up to the Priestess Path that I was sharing earlier, where being love simply can just means that you are being present in the here and now and offering your presence to someone. It doesn't always have to be like the big thing that our human mind make it up to be, right? Like being loving doesn't mean like I have to be in a charity work and raising funds and serving 1,000 people. I can. There's definitely a beautiful way, and if you love it, please, it's a beautiful way. I'm not saying anything is wrong here. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be that way. Once again, coming back to the example earlier, it can be just baking cookies and sharing it with the neighbors, like being love
Like
and that
today,
coming
at
into the being. Pardon?
yeah, like today, I was at the doctor's office and there was this elderly lady and she got up and was getting ready to leave and she was having a hard time putting her sweater on. So I ran over there and I helped her put her sweater on. So just even little things
Exactly.
like that, like mean the
Exactly.
world. Yeah.
Exactly. Because like one of the thing that the Palladian Star Mother really emphasizes is that, because a lot of us, when we are on awakening journey, we are thinking about ascending. So we are thinking in our 3D human mind that we are going up, 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 up. And then a lot of people like, I want to get out of body, I want to astral travel, da, da, da. And that's great too. There is a purpose for that. But then don't forget that you are here for the human experience. That's why you have a human body. That's why you are in a human lifetime. Otherwise, you would have stayed in your own incarnation. So don't forget to bring the high vibration frequency down. Like it does, like you can meditate and then, like feeling high, feeling great, feeling love, but what are you doing in your human lifetime? Like you can't be just hiding in a cave and meditate whole day and feel love, right? Like there is a reason you take this physical form. So go out there and spread the love in whatever way again it is. So it's like integrating that spiritual and material. So like, yeah, we meditate, we are raising the vibration spiritually, and that's very important. We are sending love energetically that way. But on a earthly level, on the material or physical level, we are also being love. And then in that beingness, it led us to do act of love and to share and spread our light in that way. So it's the integration again, which is what the priestess is about. The priestess is about having one foot on the earth and one foot on the sky, bridging that spirit and material and embodying it in this lifetime, in this human path.
Yeah, I love that. Um, Tell us about the 5D biz for new earth leaders. Tell us about that.
Mm. So it is around the concept that as I love to say that as Mother Earth awaken, so do we, right? We are awakening alongside with Mother Earth as she shifted to 5D. And similarly, our business is also being called to shift into the 5D. So it will be incongruent, like you're gonna feel disconnected if you are ascending to 5D along with Mother Earth, but you're leaving behind your business without bringing it along in that sense. So it's really important to operate and run your business from a 5D level of love based and not fear based, where a lot of us, including myself, I've taken a lot of courses on how we should be running a business, which a lot of them are based on fear of lack of limitation. And we are still carrying a lot of that in our energetic field, right? So if we continue to run the business that way, we will feel a disconnection. So with a new awareness and new consciousness, let's change and shift our business to reflect that 5D consciousness. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. Okay. So tell us about some premonitions or inspirations that you've had recently that you'd like to share with the audience.
There's so many, just feeling which one may be more resonance. I'm gonna share the most, literally what came through yesterday. I think I have it on paper here. Okay. So yesterday I had this entire download of Lemurian Priestess, which is something I'm gonna be offering very soon. So if you follow me on Instagram or get onto my email list, you'll be updated when it's available. It will definitely be up on the website too. So when I was receiving this inspiration about Lemurian Priestess, a lot of like the components come in, and one of them is Lemurian sisterhood. And that brings me to the idea of sisterhood wound, which a lot of priestesses, whether Lemuria or not, like generally in the priestess path, a lot of the divine feminine had in one point or another experienced what we call sister wounds, where we felt like there is like a competition, that we cannot share the stage together, that there, like we see it in media because we are so brainwashed by it until we awaken. Of course, like women cannot even, like how when you watch TV, like if one woman wear the same dress and another woman in the party, is like a disaster.
What is
Like,
that? I know. Like, I bought
I
this
don't know.
dress.
I saw that.
Wearing the same dress.
I don't know. We saw that a lot in movie, and I always think like,
Yeah.
what's the big deal here, right? But that's
I used
a
to
clear
say the same
example.
thing.
I know. And but like that, there's the example of like how we are being programmed to have that sister competition, that sisterhood wound. And a lot of these sisterhood wound, they can they manifest in so many ways that it's so hard to explain it everything now. But like that's like a really example and clear one that immediately you get the point that I'm trying to make here. And then you're gonna see it reflected in your business. It might look like something like not having as like being more comfortable around male friends instead of female friends, just because either you don't feel good enough and you're comparing yourself to other women, or you constantly have to fight the attention with the other woman because you think that you have to be the spotlight on not the other woman. And all this again, they are like from fear, right? And yeah, and then like not like even in collaboration, it is very, again, 3D way of doing collaboration where it is about me and not about us. All of this, there are so many ways the sister wounds are manifest, and this is such an important message I've been receiving that I thought that it would be beautiful to share it here, to really just in its simplicity to remind that we are all one. So there is no competition, like you're competing with yourself for what, like. And there are more than enough room for everyone to shine. There are more than enough to go around for everybody. Like me and Shana coming into this podcast doesn't make my light smaller, doesn't make her light smaller. If any, it makes our light even brighter. So yeah. And just a
Agreed.
quick example, another one that I really love to share is, I think it's a Super Bowl. I can't remember which performance, but there was once J Lo and Shakira come together, I think, in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah.
And I love them separately, right? I love J Lo performance. I love Shakira in general. And they are very similar but different, if you know what I mean. Like they dance, they sing, very different music, and yet in a lot of way very similar. And when they come on stage together, personally, I think that's like the best performance of them I've ever seen, when they
Mm,
combine and shine on
right.
stage together, right? So that
Yeah.
is
They're
another
getting better
example.
together.
I know, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you like them individually, but like when they come together, it's like a whole new level. Like, wow! And that again is just a beautiful example of like how when we heal our sister wound, there are so much beauty that comes out of actually supporting one another.
Yes. Do you have anything that you would like to leave with the audience before I ask the final two questions?
Be present in the here and now, because that's where everything is. So yeah, we are awakening, we are in this path, we are rising up our vibration, but at the end it's about grounding it back down into the present moment. And in that present moment is where love is, and that's where we are being. And then from that beingness, it will lead us to the doing and the having.
Yes, that's beautiful. So, if you guys would like to get a hold of Elise, you can find her on YouTube here, on Instagram, Spotify, her website. Links are also in the description. And I have two questions that I like to ask all my guests before we part. And the first question is,
Mhm.
what is the meaning of life for you?
Mm. Love, that's the first word that come in. Life is, yeah, the meaning of life is love. It's just about being the embodiment of love. In fact, that's a prayer I do every day, like let love lead the way, let love be my experience, and let love be me. For I am love. Yeah.
Yes. And what if you could leave the audience with a piece of profound advice that could help them in their lives? What would that be?
Trust and surrender. So whatever that comes your way, if you feel called to take that leap of faith and lean into the unknown in full trust and surrender, knowing that nothing happens by accident, right? Like it is meant for you. That's why it comes to you. So take the first step, it will lead to the next step. And wrapping up in full circle, if you remember the story about how my podcast started, that wouldn't have been possible without trusting and surrender. Because then, I will be like, okay, let me get the cover page up first. Let me get the microphone. Let me da. And by the time I'm done with the 10,000 steps, the inspiration is gone. Right. But
Right.
then I was trusting that inspiration and then taking the inspired action there and then kind of doing it backwards. Then I have the logistics set up after that. So it's more about trusting and surrendering at the end. Like, yeah, if there are like two words to live by, that is my pretty much what I remind myself every day, to in whatever it is, I do it in full trust and surrender.
Oh, I love that. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. And hang back afterwards and we'll have a little chat before we part ways. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
And we'll
Shanna, and thank you,
you're
everyone.
you're welcome. Okay. Bye guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.